Hello friends. What happens when the most grounded sign in the zodiac dares to dive into the unpredictable waters of love? Taurus, ruled by Venus, is all about loyalty, sensuality, and long-term commitment. But how does this earth sign really match up with each of the 12 zodiac signs in the sacred bond of marriage? Well, prepare yourself for a cosmic tour through love, loyalty, and a few awkward mismatches. We're about to explore Taurus compatibility with every other sign, through the lens of marriage. So grab your astrology chart, maybe a snack because you know Taurus wouldn't do this on an empty stomach, and let's get into it. Taurus and Aries, fire meets earth. At first glance, the union between Taurus and Aries seems more like a battleground than a bridal suite. Aries, ruled by fiery Mars, thrives on speed, excitement, and spontaneous action. It's the sign of warriors, entrepreneurs, and impulsive romantics who fall in love fast and chase passion with intensity. Taurus, on the other hand, is ruled by gentle Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and luxury. Taurus moves with purpose, patience, and an eye for long-term rewards. While Aries is booking last-minute trips and shouting, YOLO, Taurus is checking the budget, evaluating risks, and wondering if they packed snacks. This is where the friction begins. They operate on entirely different emotional time zones. In the early stages of marriage, this dynamic can feel electric, opposites attract, after all. Aries is drawn to Taurus' sensual energy, calm demeanor, and unshakable loyalty. There's something undeniably grounding about being with someone who doesn't get riled up by every little thing. Taurus, meanwhile, is captivated by Aries' confidence and zest for life. Aries makes things exciting. They sweep Taurus off their feet and introduce them to adrenaline in a way no other sign can. Taurus, in turn, offers Aries a safe harbor when the fires of ambition burn too hot. They can be a refuge of peace, a steady presence when Aries gets overwhelmed by their own intensity. And in the bedroom? Let's just say that Mars and Venus together don't disappoint. But this same chemistry that brings them together can also pull them apart, especially if neither partner learns to compromise. Aries lives in the moment. They make quick decisions, love change, and often act before thinking. This can be deeply unsettling to Taurus, who prefers slow, deliberate progress and deeply values routine. Taurus may begin to feel anxious, constantly trying to slow Aries down or rein in their spontaneity, and Aries, in turn, may feel controlled, stifled, or worse, bored. The tension builds slowly, like pressure under the earth, until it finally erupts, usually with Taurus giving the silent treatment and Aries storming out the door. Communication is key here. Taurus must learn to not take Aries' impulsiveness personally, and Aries needs to understand that Taurus isn't slow, they're thoughtful. A Taurus needs time to build trust, to plan, and to process emotions. Rushing them only makes them dig in their heels harder. If Aries wants this relationship to thrive, they'll need to learn the art of patience. If Taurus hopes for a lifelong union, they'll need to take more risks, to allow Aries the space to lead once in a while, even when the path ahead isn't fully mapped out. It's not about changing who they are, it's about meeting each other halfway. In marriage, their contrasting natures will surface daily. Aries might wake up ready to seize the day, while Taurus is still under the covers, dreaming of a slow breakfast and quiet morning. Arguments might stem from Aries' need for independence and Taurus' need for security. Aries might want to move to a new city, launch a business, or take a year off to find themselves, while Taurus is focused on paying off the mortgage, planning for retirement, and preserving emotional and financial stability. Neither is wrong, but their visions for the future must align, or at least not clash head-on. Still, there's something uniquely beautiful about this pairing when it works. Taurus can teach Aries the value of commitment, of savoring moments rather than rushing through them. Aries, in turn, reminds Taurus that life is short, and sometimes the best things come from stepping outside the comfort zone. Together, they have the potential to build something extraordinary, not just passionate, but lasting. It's not easy. It's not always peaceful. But when earth and fire unite with love and mutual respect, they don't cancel each other out. They forge something stronger, a flame that burns slowly, but never dies. Marriage potential, passionate, complicated, and deeply rewarding for couples who grow together, a true test of opposites attracting and staying. Taurus and Taurus, two bulls, one barn. When two Tauruses come together in marriage, it's like a warm, slow-burning fire that never flickers. These two are cut from the same celestial cloth, lovers of peace, pleasure, and predictability. At first glance, it might seem like the ideal pairing, who better to understand a Taurus than another Taurus? They share the same rhythms, the same love language, and the same approach to life. Their home becomes a sanctuary of soft blankets, slow mornings, and familiar routines that feel like a love song on repeat. It's a match where both partners prioritize loyalty, sensuality, and a deep, unwavering commitment to one another. In theory, it sounds perfect, and in many ways, it is. But perfection, as we know, comes with its price. This couple builds their marriage like a fortress, strong, beautiful, and highly resistant to change. They invest in long-term goals, curate a cozy home life, and value quality over chaos. Dates often revolve around favorite restaurants, shared hobbies, or staying in and cooking together. This isn't a pair that needs flashy gestures or wild adventures. For them, love is found in the small, steady things. Holding hands in silence. Sharing dessert. Splurging on high thread count sheets. They're grounded, romantic realists who show affection not with grand declarations but with consistency and care. And in the bedroom? Let's just say Venus rules here. The physical connection can be intense, sensual, and deeply satisfying. But beneath the soft lighting and chilled rose, a unique challenge bubbles quietly. Both partners are notoriously stubborn. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, meaning once they plant their flag, they don't move, not easily, and not without reason. Multiply that by 2, and you've got a relationship that might be emotionally rich but can become dangerously static. Disagreements don't erupt into loud fights, no, it's more of a cold war. A tension that hangs in the air for days. Neither wants to concede. Both believe they're right. And neither wants to risk vulnerability by being the first to say, "I'm sorry." When this happens, the emotional intimacy that once felt so sacred can turn into a chilly silence that lingers far too long. This mutual resistance to change can also impact the marriage in subtle, long-term ways. They might fall into routines that, while comforting, eventually dull the spark between them. The same restaurants, the same vacations, the same conversations. Without intentional effort, this pairing can become too predictable, too safe, and safety, when overdone, can start to feel like stagnation. There's a fine line between stability and boredom, and Taurus knows this all too well. What starts as, "we're both so chill," can slip into, "we've stopped growing." But here's the beautiful irony, because they're so similar, they're also uniquely equipped to address these issues, if they choose to. Taurus is nothing if not devoted. When they love, they really love. They'll work through problems, but only if they feel secure enough to do so without risking their emotional dignity. And with another Taurus, that security is baked into the foundation. If one can muster the courage to break the silence, the other will likely meet them with open arms, and a glass of wine. Once they learn that compromise doesn't mean weakness, but strength and unity, they can overcome their shared hard-headedness. To keep the marriage vibrant, this couple needs to challenge themselves to step outside their comfort zones, together. Try a new hobby. Travel to unexpected places. Change up the routine. And, most importantly, learn to apologize and forgive, not because they have to, but because love is more important than pride. When they remember that, they become not just a comfortable couple, but an unstoppable one. This union is a masterclass in devotion. In shared goals. In earthy, sensual love. But it requires conscious effort to stay fresh, to evolve, and to soften the hard edges that naturally arise when two immovable forces try to coexist in harmony. The love is there. The loyalty is unmatched. Now it's just about learning to bend before they break. Marriage potential, deeply rooted and emotionally rich, with the power to thrive forever, if they can outgrow their own resistance to change. Taurus and Gemini, the sensualist and the social butterfly. When a Taurus and a Gemini walk into a relationship, it often feels like they're speaking two completely different love languages, one through stillness and security, the other through motion and curiosity. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is sensual, grounded, and drawn to all things that make life feel rich and satisfying. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, is quick-witted, restless, and always hungry for the next conversation, the next idea, the next thrill. One wants to sink into the moment, the other wants to move on to the next one. At first glance, this seems like a recipe for disaster in marriage, or at least a lifetime of eye rolls and misunderstandings. But if they can navigate their differences with empathy and adaptability, there's potential for a dynamic relationship that brings out the best in both signs. Taurus enters marriage seeking lasting comfort. They're loyal to their bones and crave a partner who offers consistency, physical affection, and shared routines. To them, love is a slow-cooked meal, a shared bank account, and the quiet joy of waking up next to the same person every morning. Gemini, however, approaches love like a page-turner novel, full of twists, turns, and plenty of footnotes. They need mental stimulation, social interaction, and the freedom to reinvent themselves without fear of being tied down. When these two first fall in love, the attraction often comes from their differences. Taurus is captivated by Gemini's energy and playfulness, Gemini is intrigued by Taurus' calm and magnetic steadiness. There's a fascination here, a sense of, "You're so different from me, tell me everything." In the beginning, Gemini's humor, charm, and ability to talk about anything under the sun can feel refreshing to Taurus. They make Taurus laugh, help them loosen up, and bring excitement to a life that may have grown a bit too predictable. Meanwhile, Taurus' stability becomes a surprising balm to Gemini's scattered soul. Beneath their breezy exterior, Geminis often long for a sense of home, someone who won't run when things get complicated. Taurus becomes that home, offering a kind of unwavering presence Gemini didn't know they needed. But the honeymoon doesn't last forever, and soon, the cracks begin to show. Taurus can start to feel abandoned when Gemini's attention drifts, which it often does. Whether it's new hobbies, new friends, or simply a new podcast, Gemini has a hard time sitting still, and Taurus begins to wonder, am I enough? At the same time, Gemini might start feeling boxed in by Taurus' love of routine and predictability. While Taurus thrives in stillness, Gemini thrives in motion, and if they're made to feel trapped or overly managed, their playful spirit can quickly turn evasive. This is where the work begins, and the potential for real magic, too. If Taurus can learn to let go of some control and embrace flexibility, and if Gemini can slow down enough to be fully present in the relationship, the two can create a truly beautiful balance. Gemini brings air to Taurus' earth, keeping the relationship intellectually engaging and emotionally curious. Taurus brings grounding energy to Gemini's whirlwind of ideas, creating a safe space where even the most anxious thoughts can settle. But this isn't a set it and forget it kind of union, it takes constant tuning, regular check-ins, and a shared willingness to grow. Communication styles are another battleground. Taurus prefers directness and clarity, while Gemini thrives on nuance, wit, and exploration. Arguments may arise when Taurus wants closure and certainty, but Gemini wants to keep asking questions or playing devil's advocate. Taurus might interpret Gemini's changing moods or shifting opinions as instability, while Gemini may see Taurus' consistent views as inflexible or even dull. The key is for both partners to meet in the middle, for Gemini to give Taurus the emotional reassurance they need, and for Taurus to allow room for Gemini's dual nature without judgment. In marriage, this pairing benefits enormously from shared projects or activities that blend structure with creativity. Planning trips, co-writing something, or even running a small business together can help them unite their strengths. They'll also need separate space, not just physically, but emotionally. Gemini needs freedom to explore without guilt, and Taurus needs alone time to recharge in their comfort zone. If they can respect these differences, rather than resenting them, their marriage becomes a dance instead of a tug-of-war. When this couple thrives, they bring color and depth to each other's lives. Taurus teaches Gemini how to slow down, appreciate the moment, and find joy in the familiar. Gemini teaches Taurus that change isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. Together, they can create a marriage that's equal parts grounding and uplifting, sensual and intellectual, steady and surprising. Marriage potential, a challenging yet enriching union, where love grows not through similarity, but through the courage to stretch, bend, and meet in the magical space between earth and air. Taurus and Cancer, the sweethearts of the zodiac. When Taurus and Cancer come together in marriage, it's less like fireworks and more like a slow, golden sunrise, warm, comforting, and full of promise. These two signs seem almost cosmically designed for each other. Taurus, ruled by Venus, represents earthly pleasure, devotion, and a deep love of life's finer, more tangible things. Cancer, ruled by the Moon, brings intuition, emotional depth, and a nurturing soul to the mix. What you get is a bond that feels ancient, sacred, and completely natural, like two puzzle pieces that finally found their fit. This isn't a high-drama, whirlwind kind of love. It's the kind of connection that feels like home, like being seen, heard, and loved in a way that doesn't need to be explained. From the beginning, this relationship just feels right. Taurus offers Cancer the one thing they long for most, security. Not just financial or physical security, though that's certainly part of it, but emotional safety, consistency, and presence. Taurus shows up and stays, and for a sign as sensitive and easily wounded as Cancer, that's everything. In return, Cancer brings warmth, empathy, and a nurturing energy that helps Taurus let their guard down. Taurus can often be slow to trust or open up emotionally, but Cancer's gentle affection and intuitive care allow the bull to relax, be vulnerable, and lean into love. It's like a healing balm for both. Together, they create a world filled with comfort and meaning. Friday nights might look like candlelit dinners at home, hands held across the table, followed by hours curled up under a weighted blanket, binge-watching a favorite show while discussing dreams of the future. They're both deeply domestic in nature, so creating a beautiful home filled with love, laughter, and maybe a few plants they overcare for is almost a given. Children, pets, holiday traditions, family recipes, these two thrive when they're building a life around shared values and emotional safety. You can almost hear the soft indie music playing in the background. But let's not mistake their tenderness for perfection. There are challenges, subtle ones, but powerful nonetheless. Cancer's emotional waves can be overwhelming at times, especially for Taurus, who prefers calm waters. Mood swings, passive-aggressive silences, or retreating into their shell are Cancer's coping mechanisms when they feel hurt, and if Taurus isn't paying close enough attention, they might miss the signs completely. On the flip side, Taurus' tendency to bottle things up can frustrate Cancer, who wants open emotional dialogue and reassurance. Taurus may appear emotionally distant or stubborn, while Cancer might spiral into worry, assuming something is wrong when Taurus is simply processing in silence. The key is communication, gentle, honest, and timely. Cancer needs to express their emotions without guilt, and Taurus needs to practice emotional presence rather than retreat into silence. Fortunately, both signs are highly committed to their partners. Once they realize that conflict doesn't threaten their love, but strengthens it, they begin to navigate disagreements with grace. Their fights, when they happen, tend to be quiet, introspective, and ultimately healing. They argue not to win, but to understand. And once the storm has passed, the makeup cuddles. Absolutely legendary. There's also a shared instinct to care for each other, sometimes to the point of codependence. These two can become so intertwined that they forget to focus on individual growth. Cancer may become overly emotionally reliant, while Taurus might become controlling in their desire to protect the relationship. It's crucial that both maintain their sense of self and encourage each other to grow, not just together, but as individuals. Cancer should explore their creative passions and maintain close friendships outside the marriage. Taurus must allow room for spontaneity and emotional shifts, understanding that security doesn't mean rigidity. And yet, when this couple is in sync, which is often, it's pure magic. They create a love that is gentle yet fierce, quiet yet deep, slow yet soul-shaking. Their marriage becomes a living, breathing thing, nurtured with care, protected with devotion, and built to last. It's the kind of love that doesn't just survive time, it thrives through it. They'll be the couple still holding hands after decades together, finishing each other's thoughts, laughing at inside jokes no one else understands. Marriage potential, deeply nurturing, emotionally safe, and beautifully enduring, a love story rooted in trust, blooming with tenderness, and written in the language of the heart. Taurus and Leo, the royal earthquake. When Taurus and Leo walk down the aisle, it's not just a marriage, it's an epic. A production. A royal event with matching thrones and a guest list curated months in advance. These are two fixed signs, meaning they're both unwavering in their convictions, deeply loyal, and often stubborn to the point of heroic resistance. But while their shared fixity creates a powerful foundation of commitment, it also lays the groundwork for some intense personality clashes. Taurus is the quiet monarch of comfort and tradition. Leo is the flamboyant ruler of passion and performance. One wants peace and predictability, the other craves admiration and excitement. So what happens when these two powerful forces combine? Sparks. And not just romantic ones. From the outside, Taurus and Leo make a striking couple. They exude confidence, charm, and a magnetic presence that draws people in. Together, they're elegant and stylish, Taurus favoring classic luxury, Leo leaning toward bold and dramatic flair. Their shared appreciation for the finer things, designer interiors, gourmet dining, meaningful gifts, gives their relationship a sense of richness and indulgence. They don't just build a life together, they curate it. This is a couple that hosts unforgettable dinner parties, picks furniture with a 5-year vision, and takes anniversary trips worthy of social media envy. But beneath this glossy surface lies a complex emotional dynamic. Leo thrives on praise, recognition, and passionate displays of love. For them, being seen and adored is non-negotiable. Taurus, while equally loving, expresses affection in quieter, more practical ways, through loyalty, consistency, and physical closeness. They might show love by making Leo's coffee just right every morning, while Leo is planning an elaborate surprise date with fireworks and handwritten poetry. Over time, Leo might begin to feel underappreciated, craving more verbal affection and fanfare. Taurus, on the other hand, might start feeling exhausted by Leo's emotional intensity and need for constant spotlight. The heart of the tension is this: both signs want to be honored in the relationship, but they have very different ideas of what that looks like. Leo wants applause, Taurus wants peace. Leo wants to inspire awe, Taurus wants to feel safe. This can lead to power struggles where neither wants to budge, both believing their way of loving is the right one. Taurus might dig in their heels, refusing to feed what they see as Leo's ego. Leo might double down on theatrics, seeing Taurus' grounded nature as emotionally unavailable. This back and forth can result in long silences, dramatic arguments, or subtle passive-aggressiveness that lingers just below the surface. And yet, when they do get it right, the result is nothing short of majestic. Taurus provides Leo with the kind of devotion most people only dream about. They're the calm in Leo's storm, the anchor that allows Leo to rise higher because they know someone solid is holding the ground. Leo, in turn, brings color, romance, and vitality into Taurus' world. They pull Taurus out of their comfort zone and into a life that feels more passionate, more expressive, more alive. Together, they teach each other. Taurus shows Leo the beauty of stillness and reliability, while Leo shows Taurus the magic of bold love and being seen. For this marriage to work long-term, both partners must lean into generosity, not just with gifts or grand gestures, but with understanding. Taurus must learn that Leo's need for validation isn't vanity, it's vulnerability. Leo must learn that Taurus' silence isn't indifference, it's presence. Taurus needs to make more effort in verbalizing admiration, while Leo must respect Taurus' need for solitude and peace. When they stop trying to change each other and start celebrating their differences, the relationship becomes not just tolerable, but transformative. This isn't the kind of union that fades into the background. They'll have big fights, big makeups, and even bigger dreams. But through it all, they remain loyal, almost stubbornly so. When they commit, they don't just stay, they build a legacy. A love story. A home filled with velvet furniture, hand-selected art, gourmet cheese, and plenty of mutual admiration, when they remember to give it. Marriage potential, a magnetic, passionate, and sometimes tempestuous union, but for those who crave intensity and loyalty, it's nothing short of legendary. Taurus and Virgo, the builders of the Zodiac. When Taurus and Virgo fall in love, it doesn't feel like falling at all. It feels like walking into a space they've both been quietly designing for years, practical, peaceful, intentional, and ready for long-term occupancy. These two earth signs speak the same elemental language, they crave security, consistency, and a love that isn't just poetic, but useful. It's not about flashy moments or whirlwind courtships, it's about the little things, the real things, and the things that last. The slow-cooked meals, the carefully chosen words, the silence that feels full instead of empty. Taurus brings a sense of calm to Virgo's often restless mind. While Virgo might be scanning the horizon for what could go wrong or what could be optimized, Taurus teaches them how to be present, to enjoy the softness of a good couch, the pleasure of a perfectly ripe peach, the peace of doing absolutely nothing on a Sunday. There's a sensuality to Taurus that Virgo finds grounding, almost medicinal. Meanwhile, Virgo offers Taurus something just as valuable, clarity. Virgo helps Taurus put words to their emotions, structure to their dreams, and often a much-needed nudge toward growth. Where Taurus might procrastinate or indulge, Virgo steps in with a plan, a checklist, and a gentle but firm hand to guide things forward. Their connection thrives on shared rhythms and mutual goals. These are the partners who grocery shop with a list, meal prep on Sundays, and celebrate milestones not with champagne, but with a quiet smile of satisfaction that says, "We built this." They value hard work, mutual respect, and doing things the right way, even if it takes longer. And their love language? Acts of service. A clean kitchen, a carefully packed lunch, the oil change done without asking. It's not loud, but it's real. Still, no marriage is without its friction. Virgo can get lost in the details, overthinking everything from their partner's tone to whether the salt jar is in the right cabinet. Taurus, who prefers emotional steadiness and simplicity, might feel drained by the constant analysis. On the flip side, Taurus' stubborn streak, that quiet refusal to change direction once they've made up their mind, can drive Virgo up the wall. Virgo wants to fix, improve, tweak. But when met with Taurus' unshakable no, their efforts can feel futile and frustrating. And yet, because both signs value peace, they tend to work through issues with minimal drama. Taurus isn't one for explosive conflict, and Virgo would rather resolve a problem than let it fester. Their arguments, when they happen, are quiet and solution-focused. They respect each other too much to let things spiral. Often, Virgo's words will gently unpack Taurus' silence, and Taurus' steadiness will calm Virgo's mental spinning. It's a soft kind of healing, one that doesn't require fireworks to feel transformative. What makes this marriage shine is its shared devotion to improvement, not just of their home or finances, but of each other. Taurus encourages Virgo to pause, to indulge, to recognize that perfection isn't always necessary. Virgo, in turn, challenges Taurus to grow, to stay curious, to keep moving forward. They don't just love each other, they elevate each other. It's a quiet kind of magic, but no less powerful. They don't burn bright like a fire sign couple might, they glow, like a candle that never goes out. This isn't a pairing that demands attention, but those who know them will often describe them as the couple who has it all together. Because they do, not in a performative way, but in a deeply earned, quietly cultivated way. Their love is built like a well-crafted house, solid foundation, thoughtful design, timeless features, and a door that's always open, for each other. Marriage potential, steady, wise, and unwavering, a partnership grounded in mutual growth, real-world romance, and the kind of love that lasts not just years, but lifetimes. Taurus and Libra, beauty and the balance. When Taurus and Libra enter into a marriage, it's as if two curators of beauty and love have decided to merge galleries, one filled with texture and touch, the other with conversation and contemplation. Ruled by Venus, both signs have a natural appreciation for all things lovely, soft fabrics, candlelit dinners, perfectly composed playlists, and art that speaks to the soul. Their love story begins like a painting come to life, all symmetry, grace, and romantic possibility. But while they share the same muse, they often use very different brushes. Taurus paints in bold, deliberate strokes. Libra sketches in endless lines and careful shading. And when the honeymoon glow starts to dim, those differences become more pronounced. Taurus approaches marriage like a well-tended garden, it takes time, patience, and loyalty. They're tactile, emotionally consistent, and committed to routines that nourish the bond. Libra, on the other hand, brings an airier energy. Their mind is always moving, always weighing, always considering. To Libra, a marriage should be a space for elegance, fairness, and constant harmony, a delicate balance between intimacy and freedom. Taurus finds comfort in repetition, Libra finds comfort in variety. One wants to anchor, the other wants to float. This creates a tension that's subtle at first, an undercurrent of confusion about how love should be expressed, and what it should feel like day to day. Taurus may begin to feel unmoored by Libra's need to entertain different perspectives before making decisions, even in something as simple as where to go for dinner. Libra, always trying to please, might hesitate or second-guess, and Taurus sees this as frustratingly indecisive. Just pick, the bull will say. But what if we regret it? Libra responds. Meanwhile, Libra can grow weary of Taurus' black and white thinking. Where Taurus sees certainty, Libra sees limits. Where Taurus sees security, Libra sees rigidity. This dynamic can become a loop, Taurus doubles down for stability, and Libra pushes back for autonomy. And yet, there's undeniable magic in their contrast. Libra helps Taurus look up from the earth, to see the beauty in change, in curiosity, in letting go. Libra brings refinement, diplomacy, and a gift for finding the middle ground. They teach Taurus to speak more kindly, listen more openly, and soften their often immovable stance. Taurus, in return, offers Libra grounding, a safe, steady presence that reminds the Aries sign that it's okay to land. Taurus teaches Libra that beauty can be found not just in ideals, but in commitment, in standing still long enough to build something real. Together, they can strike a poetic balance between form and function, thought and touch, mind and body. This is a couple that, at their best, creates a lifestyle full of grace. Their home is not just beautiful, but intentional. Their routines feel elegant. There's wine, good music, carefully planned vacations, and an ease with the material world. They often enjoy hosting others, creating an atmosphere of warmth, calm, and aesthetic harmony. The sensual meets the cerebral here in small but meaningful ways, a handwritten note tucked in a lunchbox, a passionate debate over coffee, an anniversary celebrated with both physical affection and poetic tribute. It's romance in high definition. But this balance doesn't come without conscious effort. For this marriage to truly thrive, Taurus must learn that flexibility isn't the same as instability. Libra must learn that commitment doesn't mean confinement. They will need to openly communicate about emotional needs. Taurus needs physical consistency and reliability, while Libra thrives on mental engagement and mutual understanding. When these needs go unmet, it doesn't explode, it erodes, slowly and quietly. That's why intentional maintenance is so important here, regular check-ins, acts of appreciation, and willingness to bridge the gap between body and mind, heart and head. In the end, this pairing can be exquisite. Not always loud, not always easy, but quietly stunning in its own way. When both signs bring their highest selves, Taurus with their grounding love, Libra with their harmonizing grace, they create a marriage that feels like a living piece of art. One that evolves, deepens, and becomes more meaningful over time. Marriage potential, subtle yet sophisticated, a love story that blends sensuality with thoughtfulness, built to last if they learn how to meet halfway between earth and air. Taurus and Scorpio, the magnetic mirror. When Taurus and Scorpio meet, the universe holds its breath. This isn't a casual connection or a light-hearted fling. This is soul meets soul, a magnetic pull between two opposites who somehow recognize themselves in each other. They sit across from each other on the zodiac wheel for a reason. They're mirrors, yes, but also mirrors that reflect both light and shadow. Taurus is physical, tactile, rooted in the pleasures of the tangible world. Scorpio is emotional, psychological, obsessed with the depth beneath the surface. Together, they create a love that doesn't skim, it sinks. And what they build, if they can handle the intensity, is nothing short of seismic. At their core, both Taurus and Scorpio crave the same thing, loyalty. Not the everyday, surface-level kind, but the fierce, ride-or-die kind that digs its roots deep and refuses to let go. Taurus expresses this through consistency, presence, and physical affection, making their love known in 100 quiet, tangible ways. Scorpio expresses it through emotional depth, psychic bonding, and unwavering focus. When they love, it's total. This creates an almost mythic bond between them. They don't just fall in love, they claim each other. It's a connection that feels fated, intoxicating, and at times, terrifying in its intensity. But with great power comes, well, a whole lot of emotional pressure. Both Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs, which means neither of them likes change, compromise, or being told what to do. When things are good, they're impenetrable, a fortress of passion and shared purpose. But when they clash, it's war. Taurus digs in, refusing to budge. Scorpio digs deeper, refusing to back down. And unlike some signs that fight and forget, these two remember. Every word, every tone, every silence. Their conflicts are not just disagreements, they're psychological battles, often filled with power plays, silent treatments, and the kind of emotional undercurrents that could shake a house. The fundamental challenge lies in their emotional expression. Taurus seeks peace and predictability. Scorpio seeks transformation, even if it means burning everything down first. Taurus avoids drama, choosing silence or withdrawal when upset. Scorpio runs headfirst into the flames, needing intensity to feel alive. This can create a frustrating dynamic, one partner pushing for confrontation and catharsis, the other resisting with every fiber of their being. If they don't learn to bridge that emotional gap, resentment festers. Scorpio sees Taurus as emotionally avoidant. Taurus sees Scorpio as manipulative or overly intense. And suddenly, what was once magnetic becomes toxic. But, and this is a big but, when they get it right, it's powerful, healing, transcendent. Scorpio teaches Taurus that true intimacy isn't just physical, it's about emotional vulnerability, psychological safety, and trusting someone enough to be seen completely. Taurus teaches Scorpio that love doesn't have to hurt to be real, that stability, touch, and presence can be just as powerful as emotional excavation. They stabilize each other, soothe each other, complete each other in a way few other signs can. They're not just lovers, they're allies in the trenches. And once they fully trust one another, they become fiercely protective, creating a bond that outsiders might admire, or fear. This is a couple that builds slowly, cautiously, but with deep intention. Their home may feel private, almost sacred. They're not loud about their love, they don't need to be. Everything between them simmers just beneath the surface. And while others might misunderstand their intensity or see them as controlling, what really lies at the heart of this marriage is a deep, sacred commitment to holding each other through everything. Life. Loss. Rebirth. All of it. Still, trust is the cornerstone. If it's broken, through betrayal, dishonesty, or emotional withdrawal, the damage is hard to undo. Scorpio may spiral into suspicion. Taurus may shut down completely. The path back requires vulnerability, forgiveness, and a mutual agreement to drop the armor. But when that happens, the relationship transforms into something stronger than before, forged through fire, tempered with time. Marriage potential, a rare and powerful union, rooted in loyalty, built on intensity, and capable of profound transformation, as long as both are brave enough to face the emotional truth and love each other through it. Taurus and Sagittarius, the wild card and the rock. When Taurus and Sagittarius enter a relationship, it feels like someone paired a cozy, fireside cabin with a jet engine. One wants to build a life around comfort, stability, and familiar routines, while the other is scanning flight prices for a spontaneous trip to Morocco. Taurus is earthbound, patient, sensual, and deeply rooted in the here and now. Sagittarius, a fire sign ruled by expansive Jupiter, lives in the future, chasing knowledge, adventure, and wide-open possibilities. And yet, in those early moments of connection, the sparks are undeniable. There's curiosity, laughter, a shared sense of wonder, just for completely different things. Taurus is captivated by Sagittarius' confidence and zest for life. Sagittarian energy feels like a gust of fresh air to the Taurian soul, exciting, untamed, and full of potential. Sagittarius, in turn, finds Taurus' steadiness magnetic. There's something wildly attractive about someone so comfortable in their skin, so unbothered by chaos. It's grounding, even exotic in its own way. At first, this couple balances each other. Taurus teaches Sagittarius the beauty of stillness, of rooting deeply instead of running. Sagittarius inspires Taurus to take more risks, trust the unknown, and live a little louder. But the initial fascination only takes them so far. When real life sets in, bills, routines, expectations, their elemental differences become harder to ignore. Taurus needs predictability to feel safe, to know where they stand and what tomorrow will look like. They want to plan vacations, build savings, and know what's for dinner before it's dinner time. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is allergic to restriction. They crave spontaneity, room to breathe, and the freedom to change their mind at any moment. To Sagittarius, Taurus can seem like a closed door. To Taurus, Sagittarius feels like a gust of wind threatening to blow the whole house down. At its worst, this dynamic becomes a loop of unmet needs. Taurus might try to hold on tighter, craving commitment, structure, and accountability. Sagittarius may start pulling away, feeling boxed in, suffocated by the routine. Resentment builds. Taurus may label Sagittarius immature or unreliable. Sagittarius may see Taurus as emotionally rigid or controlling. And because both signs are strong-willed, Taurus in silence, Sagittarius in flight, it's easy for conflict to simmer without ever really being resolved. But despite their differences, this pairing isn't doomed. In fact, it can be deeply rewarding, if both partners are willing to embrace growth and expand their definitions of love. The key is understanding that neither one is right. Taurus needs to accept that love doesn't always come in predictable packages, and that spontaneity doesn't mean instability. Sagittarius must recognize that freedom isn't the absence of commitment, it's the ability to be fully oneself within a shared life. This couple thrives when they co-create a marriage that's flexible by design. They need to build in room for adventure and security. Maybe it looks like separate vacations, or giving each other solo space to pursue passions. Maybe it's about setting up rituals they return to, dinner every Sunday, travel every summer, that blend Taurus love of tradition with Sagittarius hunger for newness. It won't be a typical marriage, and that's exactly why it could work. They'll have to over-communicate. Sagittarius will need to reassure Taurus more often than they're used to. Taurus will need to loosen their grip and embrace the messiness of change. But if they meet in the middle, the reward is enormous, a life that's both rooted and expansive, both stable and full of growth. They become not just lovers, but explorers, building a life that evolves, adapts, and stays curious. And don't underestimate their physical chemistry. Taurus brings sensuality, attention, and presence to the bedroom. Sagittarius brings fire, playfulness, and a bit of wild unpredictability. When their emotional connection catches up with their physical one, intimacy becomes another realm they can explore, one where both grounding and flight are welcome. Marriage potential, challenging but deeply enriching, a relationship that breaks molds and redefines commitment, thriving when love is built not on possession, but on partnership. Taurus and Capricorn, the power couple. When Taurus and Capricorn enter a relationship, it doesn't feel like falling, it feels like building. Slowly. Intentionally. Brick by brick, choice by choice. This isn't a whirlwind romance, but a long-form love story written in steady handwriting. Both are earth signs, meaning they value security, consistency, and real-world achievements. They understand that love isn't just a feeling, it's a commitment, a lifestyle, and sometimes, a quiet act of devotion that shows up in the form of paying bills on time or cooking dinner after a long day. These two don't just want a relationship. They want a partnership, one that endures, grows, and becomes stronger with every shared goal and challenge faced together. Taurus brings warmth and sensuality to the table. They're the comfort builder, the emotional safe haven, the one who reminds Capricorn to breathe and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Taurus believes in the value of rest, routine, and shared pleasure. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, is the planner and the protector. They're focused, pragmatic, and often more emotionally guarded, but they show love in deeply loyal, often unspoken ways, fixing things, organizing life, making sure the future is secure. Together, they balance each other with uncanny precision. Where Taurus might pause, Capricorn pushes forward. Where Capricorn might withhold, Taurus gently invites closeness. Their marriage is often grounded in shared values, responsibility, tradition, financial security, and creating a beautiful home. They're not flashy, but they are intentional. Vacations are well planned. Investments are smart. The home is curated, cozy, and deeply meaningful. This couple might not be the type to overshare on social media or write public love letters, but they're the ones still holding hands after 30 years, with a retirement plan, a family album, and a garden they built together from the ground up. Still, even the most stable foundations experience stress. Capricorn's relentless ambition can sometimes lead to emotional distance. They may get so focused on career milestones or external goals that they forget to check in with their partner. Taurus, who needs consistent emotional and physical connection, might begin to feel like a side project instead of a priority. On the other hand, Capricorn may feel frustrated by what they perceive as Taurus' slow pace, indulgent habits, or resistance to change. Capricorn thrives on progress, and Taurus thrives on peace. If left unchecked, this can become a tug-of-war between motion and stillness. But here's what makes this match special: neither runs from discomfort. They don't ghost, flake, or throw in the towel at the first sign of tension. They stay. They talk it through. Maybe not in a dramatic, emotional explosion, but in quiet, determined conversations that lead to real change. Taurus helps Capricorn reconnect with the softer side of life, the beauty of presence, touch, and contentment. Capricorn challenges Taurus to level up, to take risks, set goals, and believe in their ability to grow. In this sense, they are true partners in evolution. Their love may not be full of grand gestures, but it is full of reliability. They're the ones you can count on, to show up, to follow through, to build a life of depth and meaning. This isn't about fireworks. It's about the slow-burning flame that never goes out. The kind of relationship that makes it through job changes, family crises, and aging parents, not because it's easy, but because it's real. Because both people are willing to keep showing up every single day, and invest in each other like they would in a home or a business, something sacred, something worth protecting. Their shared stubbornness might cause occasional standstills, but their respect for one another usually wins out. They may have different styles, Taurus leads with heart, Capricorn with strategy, but both are deeply committed to the idea of love as action. As work. As something worth earning. And in a world that often prizes instant gratification, this pairing is a quiet rebellion, a reminder that love built slowly, deliberately, and with integrity can stand the test of time. Marriage potential, enduring, intentional, and deeply rooted, the kind of partnership that doesn't just last, but thrives, grounded in mutual respect, shared ambition, and real-world love that's felt in every corner of the life they build together. Taurus and Aquarius, the unpredictable equation. When Taurus and Aquarius come together in marriage, it's less about chemistry and more about alchemy, two very different elements combining to form something neither of them could have predicted. Taurus, the steady earth sign, wants comfort, order, and a love that's familiar and physical. Aquarius, the forward-thinking air sign, is all about disruption, reinvention, and emotional independence. They aren't just opposites, they're on different timelines. Taurus is rooted in the now, the tangible, the proven. Aquarius is 10 steps ahead, experimenting with what's next. And yet, despite their radically different natures, there's an undeniable intrigue between them, like a storm cloud hovering over a still meadow, full of tension and electricity. In the early stages, Taurus may be fascinated by Aquarius' cool detachment and unorthodox worldview. Aquarius, in turn, finds something captivating in Taurus' simplicity and solid presence, someone who doesn't need to perform, just is. There's mutual respect, even admiration. Taurus sees potential in Aquarius' grand ideas, and Aquarius finds safety in Taurus' reliability. But once the honeymoon ends and the dust of infatuation settles, real challenges emerge, not just surface-level incompatibilities, but core philosophical differences. Taurus wants to build a life with clear rules, shared rituals, and emotional predictability. Aquarius would rather throw out the rulebook entirely and see what happens when they follow their instincts instead. The central conflict between them is pace and priority. Taurus needs emotional consistency, they bond through routine, touch, and shared presence. They want to know where their partner will be tonight, and every night after. Aquarius bonds through shared ideals, deep conversation, and the freedom to be entirely autonomous, even while in a relationship. They might disappear into a research rabbit hole or their next humanitarian project, forgetting to text back for hours, not out of malice, but because their attention is often directed toward the collective, not the individual. To Taurus, this feels like abandonment. To Aquarius, it's just their nature. And so begins the pattern of misunderstanding. Taurus may start to view Aquarius as aloof, emotionally distant, or uninvested. Aquarius may see Taurus as possessive, closed-minded, or even boring. Taurus wants to feel held, Aquarius wants to feel free. The irony? They both value loyalty. They just express it in completely different ways. Taurus shows up through physical presence and reliability. Aquarius shows up through big-picture commitment, the idea that love means allowing your partner to evolve, not confining them. They both care deeply, they just speak love in different dialects. But if they're willing to translate, to really listen and learn each other's emotional languages, something beautiful can unfold. Taurus can teach Aquarius how to slow down, how to savor the present moment, how to come back to earth when the mind spins too far into the abstract. Aquarius helps Taurus break the cycle of, "it's always been this way," and try on new ways of being, thinking, and even loving. Aquarius encourages Taurus to break the rules occasionally, to take the scenic route instead of the safest one. Taurus shows Aquarius that structure doesn't have to equal stagnation, it can be a container for real, lasting intimacy. Their marriage thrives when they stop trying to make each other fit a mold and instead celebrate their differences as complementary strengths. This is not the kind of relationship where both people want the same things, it's the kind where they challenge each other to grow beyond what they thought they needed. It requires compromise, yes, and lots of it. Taurus needs to allow more breathing room. Aquarius needs to offer more emotional consistency. But when they commit to understanding one another, they create a love that stretches the definition of what a successful partnership looks like. This won't be the couple who moves in sync 24/7. They'll likely need separate spaces, different social rhythms, and ongoing check-ins to make sure they're still aligned. But their differences, once integrated, can become their greatest strength. Taurus brings heart to Aquarius mind. Aquarius brings ideas to Taurus instincts. Together, they might not create a traditional marriage, but they just might create a revolutionary one. Marriage potential, complex and unconventional, a partnership built not on similarity, but on the powerful collision of opposites willing to grow together in wildly unexpected ways. Taurus and Pisces, the dreamer and the rock. When Taurus and Pisces come together in marriage, it feels like a love letter written in two different languages, yet somehow, each understands every word. This is not a loud, fiery, or overly dramatic connection. Instead, it's slow and soulful, like a melody you've known your whole life but are only now hearing clearly. Taurus is grounded in the material world, practical, steady, reliable. Pisces is rooted in dreams, emotions, and everything unseen, intuitive, romantic, and mysterious. One brings structure, the other brings spirit. Together, they create a relationship that feels less like a transaction and more like a shared meditation. It's a space where love isn't just felt, it's lived. Taurus provides the container for Pisces to safely spill into. While Pisces dances in possibilities and emotions, Taurus offers a reliable rhythm that soothes the watery waves. There's a calming quality in this pairing, a sense of, "I've got you," that doesn't need to be spoken aloud. Taurus protects. Pisces inspires. Taurus plants the garden. Pisces makes it bloom with poetry. And this isn't just metaphorical, it's often literal. These two may build a home that feels like an escape from the world, soft lighting, music playing, something always baking in the oven. They're both deeply sensual and oriented toward comfort, which means their shared space will likely reflect that desire for peace and emotional safety. Where Pisces helps Taurus soften and feel more deeply, Taurus gives Pisces a landing place, a tangible reminder that love doesn't have to float. It can stay. Pisces often lives in the abstract, easily overwhelmed by the harsher edges of life. Taurus offers shelter in those storms, not through words, but through presence. Just being there, calm, constant, and unshakable. And for Taurus, who can sometimes get stuck in routines and resist emotional complexity, Pisces brings gentle waves of feeling that wash away rigidity. Pisces invites Taurus to imagine, to dream, and to surrender, not everything, but just enough. But for all their compatibility, challenges do emerge. Pisces can be evasive or emotionally inconsistent, especially when life becomes too overwhelming or mundane. They might retreat into fantasy, avoid conflict, or become moody without explanation. Taurus, who craves clarity and directness, can feel left out in the cold. They may not know how to interpret Pisces' shifting moods or unspoken needs, and their instinct will often be to try and fix things, practically, efficiently, which only makes Pisces feel even more unseen. On the flip side, Taurus' stoic nature can be a challenge for Pisces, who thrives on emotional openness and spiritual connection. When Taurus becomes too fixed or emotionally closed off, Pisces may feel spiritually stifled, unable to express their full emotional truth. The result? Misunderstandings. Taurus feels like they're doing all the real-world work, while Pisces drifts off in a daydream. Pisces feels like they're pouring their heart into a void, while Taurus seems unmoved. The truth is, they are deeply devoted, they just don't always speak the same emotional language. The remedy here is simple, though not always easy: gentle, ongoing communication. Not just about logistics or responsibilities, but about feelings, needs, and dreams. Taurus needs to allow more space for emotional nuance, to trust that not everything needs to be fixed, some things just need to be felt. Pisces, in turn, needs to anchor their emotional expressions in clarity, learning how to communicate their inner world without drifting too far from the shore. When both are emotionally present, they create a marriage that isn't just stable, it's sacred. In love, they move slowly but with intention. Taurus doesn't rush into commitment, and Pisces doesn't give their heart lightly, but once trust is established, they hold on with both hands. This is the couple that grows into their love like an old oak tree, rooted deeply, expanding slowly, but always reaching higher. They won't be the loudest or most dazzling couple in the room, but they'll be the ones sitting quietly, hand in hand, in a world of their own, communicating with glances, sharing an understanding that goes beyond logic. Marriage potential: soulful, healing, and deeply intuitive, a love that blends the dream with the real, and creates a life that feels like both a sanctuary and a shared wish come true. Final thoughts. When it comes to love and marriage, Taurus is the rock, patient, devoted, and deeply rooted in loyalty. This is a sign that doesn't just fall in love, it commits. Whether it's through acts of service, quiet support, or sensual connection, Taurus shows love by showing up, consistently, completely, and without games. But as we've seen through each zodiac pairing, even the steadiest heart can be stirred, tested, and transformed by the unique energy of every other sign. With fellow earth signs like Virgo and Capricorn, Taurus finds a natural rhythm, a shared love of structure, long-term goals, and grounded partnership. These are relationships built to last, rooted in practicality and mutual respect, often flourishing quietly but powerfully over time. With water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and yes, even Scorpio, Taurus taps into emotional depth, intuition, and vulnerability. These connections may be softer, moodier, or more intense, but they carry the potential for real soul-level growth. The comfort Taurus craves is found here, but so is emotional evolution. When it comes to air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, the challenge lies in bridging physical grounding with mental agility. These pairings can feel like Taurus is trying to catch the wind, but when both partners learn to dance with their differences rather than resist them, there's real potential for breakthrough. These marriages require flexibility, patience, and often a willingness to redefine what stable truly means. With fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, the chemistry is intense, but the energy is unpredictable. Taurus may feel overwhelmed by their impulsiveness or burned by their need for freedom and validation. Still, if both sides are willing to grow and compromise, these relationships can be deeply passionate and transformational, like fire carving new life into the earth. In every single pairing, one truth remains: Taurus needs to feel safe, valued, and emotionally secure. Whether that's through shared routines, physical closeness, or the quiet beauty of being understood without words, Taurus thrives in environments where love is steady and actions speak louder than promises. Marriage for Taurus isn't about flash or fantasy, it's about real, lasting devotion. And while some signs may test their patience, pull them into emotional storms, or shake their carefully built world, Taurus always has the power to bring love back to its roots. Grounded, loyal, real. Because no matter the zodiac sign of their partner, when a Taurus chooses you, they're in it for the long haul. And that is the kind of love you never want to let go of.